It's Geiger 123 1324 up here today with another little bit of a ASMR video today, and I'm going to be doing another 10 recommendations of PS2 games. You know, I thought I'd do a little bit of a ASMR video. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I did say I would do a ASMR video here today. So we're going to do some game recommendation, of course, on the PlayStation 2. Watching some TV and installing some Xbox 360 games. But let's get started. We have a little bit of everything. Up first we have Brothers in Arms and in Blood. This is a pretty good sort of first-person shooter, and it's actually made by a Gearbox software. Kind of ironic, another Gearbox game there I was playing last night. And this is a really good first-person shooter set in World War II, but it sort of, you know, it takes a sort of gameplay style from, you know, I guess you can say Rainbow Six or Ghost Recon style gameplay, in the sense that you have you have to sort of command your troops and tell them to do things, kind of thing like that, which is really interesting. And of course you can do some skirmish modes with a friend, co-op, and it's a pretty decent game. Next we have a great compilation of games, and that is the Capcom Arcade Classic Collection Volume 1. There are 2 volumes of this. Sorry about the state of it, but it comes with 42 games on 22 games on here, and you know, you get some really good arcade games on here, like 1942, Ghosts and Ghosts, and of course Street Fighter 2. And this is a great compilation if you want to play some Capcom Arcade games. Excuse me. And it's a really good compilation. These compilations are really good for people who don't have the systems, or, you know, a retro pie or something like that. These are good compilations. Next we have a Lego game, and that is Lego Football Mania. It's not a great game, but it's not too bad. It's basically a football game where you play as Lego characters, and it's sort of like similar to FIFA Street or Mario Strikers. It's a really fun little game, and it's pretty fun. You know, so it's an early Lego game that wasn't made by TT Games, but EA, and it's not too bad, and it's actually getting harder to find. Actually, you don't see this one in the wild that often, but it's still relatively cheap. Next we have Gauntlet, 7 Sorrows. So Gauntlet, you know, originally a Midway classic arcade game, which has had multiple variations. And this is a pretty good sort of 3D upgraded game where you play as the heroes in sort of like a 3D hack and slash style game. It's a really good game to play off on by yourself or with a friend or something, but it's really fun. I really like this game. It's a good one to play with a friend, and again, it takes place in the Gauntlet universe, so you get the sort of, you know, the skeletons and the death and stuff like that. But it's a really good game. I recommend it, and it's still quite cheap. I paid that much originally, and it's probably still about that price. Next we have one of, in my opinion, the best racing simulators on PS2, Gran Turismo 4. Gran Turismo does not need any introduction. It's one of the biggest racing simulators of all time, you know, still going to this day. But this game is fantastic. You know, I remember playing this game. It is amazing. This really pushed the PlayStation 2 to its limit. 700 cars on this game. There's so many cars to unlock. I put so much time into this game as a kid. It's a long game. It's very long. It's like most Gran Turismo games. You know, you really have to put a lot of time into this game. Again, it's a racing simulator, but it's a very good one. And you know, it's got good graphics for its time. The graphics are amazing for this game on PS2. And you know, gameplay is, you know, it's a racing simulator, but just the whole premise of this game on PS2, it just goes to show how good the PS2 really was when it had the right developers, game developers behind it. And it's a very good game, but it does have a lot of space required, so you do need a big memory card to play this game. But so, you know, a lot of people actually just brought a memory card just for this game. It's fantastic, and it's still relatively cheap. Next we have Over the Hedge. Despite what you think of the movie, I've seen the movie. It's you know, it's okay. It's nothing special now, but the game, on the other hand, is actually really fun. It's such a fun game. You know, you can play with a friend, and it's so fun. It's sort of like, you know, a two-player beat-em-up style game, but it's a really fun game actually. And I can't really talk a lot about it because it's one of those games that you should play it to experience it. I can't really tell you a lot about the game, but it's funny, and it's always a good one to put in and play with a friend. Highly recommend this game. Who'd have thought it, huh? And next we have another really good Disney game, and that is The Incredibles: Rise of the Underminer. The original Incredibles game was so-so, you know, it was okay, but it wasn't anything special. This one, on the other hand, was really good. It was two-player. One plays as Mr. Incredible, the other one was Frozone, and it's a really fun two-player beat-em-up style game. And I remember playing this game. I remember actually seeing this game on the TV back in the day when there was a video game on TV channels. And I remember talking about this game, and I really wanted it, and I ended up getting it. And me and my brother just played the hell out of this game. Such a fun game, and it's a game that I highly recommend. And next we have Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. Now, obviously, Lord of the Rings games some are good, some are bad, and some are so-so. The most respected one was the Return of the King game. That was considered to be one of the best ones, but this is actually a pretty interesting game, and it's basically a turn-based RPG, which you can play co-op, actually, surprisingly, and you basically follow behind the actual movie people. So you're following in their tracks, and it's a turn-based RPG, and you know, it's got sort of some interesting mini games. For example, you can go around as the Balrog, or minion of enemies, or you can play as enemies. And it's sort of like a turn-based game, but it's very interesting and actually surprisingly good. You know, EA used to make fantastic games. You know, EA still make good games, but it's DLC these days. And before I show the last one, because I've got a few things to say about it. But we have here a Gauntlet Pinball Classics. This is a good one if you're a fan of pinball games. Excuse me. And you get 11 of the greatest Gauntlet pinball tables. And obviously Gauntlet made some of the best pinballs tables in history. So you got a lot of classic pinballs on here. And it's a very interesting game. And it's a good simulator of pinball. And it's good graphics for its time. And it's pinball, so you know you're getting everyone loves a good game of pinball, and this is a good one to have. It come out on lots of systems. And last is actually Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. This game is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated Star Wars games of all time. This game is absolutely fantastic. So I'll give you a little bit of an explanation and a little bit of a breakdown of this game to make the video a little bit longer. So obviously the main mode is obviously you play as Obi-Wan and Anakin through the movie. But what's great about the story mode is that you don't just follow things from the movie. You have some levels thrown in there where you see things that didn't happen in the movie, and there's some characters that you don't see in the movie and stuff like that. You actually do a mission where you play as Anakin and killing off the Jedi, which is really interesting. The campaign's really good, but you have some two-player co-op modes which are pretty fun, and you have another mode where you can play as characters like Yoda and even a Magna Guard or a Grievous bodyguard, and which is pretty fun. But what made this game really good for me was it had sort of like a 1 versus 1 fighting game thrown in there with all the unlockable characters, and you had General Grievous as a playable character and even Darth Vader. And this game has an alternative ending where Anakin kills Obi-Wan, and also if you complete the game you get a special mission where you play as the older Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader in A New Hope duel. This is a really good game. I can't give this game prompts enough. I highly recommend it for any Star Wars fan. And this game also came out on, of course, Xbox and I believe GameCube, but it also came out on the Game Boy Advance, and actually the Game Boy Advance version is a good beat 'em up style game as well. So there we have 10 games that I recommend for the PS2. You know, bit of everything here, some RPG, you know, some beat 'em up style games, you know, co-op games, a racing game, hack and slash, a sport game, compilation, and a first-person shooter. All of these games are very cheap. You could probably get all of these games here for maybe under £20 if you looked around. And it's one of these are some of, in my opinion, the better games on the PS2. Fun games, and I highly recommend them. So yeah, this is a small ASMR video. I don't want to do a eating ASMR today, sorry, I'm not that hungry. And you know, but there we have it, I guess. Baggies, and you know, so I'm going to, I don't know, watch some more TV for a little bit, and then play some more Dead Rising 4 for a little bit, and then maybe play some more Battleborn tonight with Ryan, which actually, you know, it's surprisingly a good game. Just, you know, people compare it to Overwatch, but I personally think that it's got a little bit more to Overwatch than Overwatch. If you want to hear my opinions on the game, then watch my Battleborn gameplay video, and then I talk a lot about that game, and so anyway guys, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, and sorry and of course feel free to comment below. Let me know if you got any of these games and what games you recommend on the PS2. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already, and join the family. And I'm going to watch NXT TakeOver tomorrow, I think, and then I'm going to watch SummerSlam tomorrow night. I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. So have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be some gameplay tomorrow. I don't know what game yet, but we'll see. So take care and have a nice day. So sick.